Hi there. I hope you can hear me. Welcome to our first webinar. I'm from Rakurs. The topic of our first webinar is performing aerial triangulation in PHOTOMOD. I hope these webinars become a good tradition, and if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. And okay, can you hear me? Please write me about it in chat box. Hello. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, now I know you hear me. And let's start. Today we work with DMC project. It consists, you can see it in your screen, and it consists of 10 images, and they are in the single strip. You can see it here in block editor window. And the first step of processing is interior orientation. Use interior orientation menu in the main toolbar, and here manage cameras. Here we can we can check all images with this button and create a new camera. It's DMC. It's a digital camera, and here we choose the camera type. Next step, it's focal length. It's 120 millimeters. Principal point coordinates, it's 0, 0. For DMC, and the point of origin is in image center. Here, the next step, we have to enter the pixel size in micron. You can see the units, please notice it. And it's 12 millimeters by X and Y axis. Distortion none. And here press OK button. Now we have a new camera in this project, and we have to assign this camera to all images and set camera rotation to perform interior orientation. Check it and press execute button. In this part of the window we can see the camera for each image and plus in interior orientation column. Now exterior orientation has been done for this project, and we can close this window. And the next step, it's block layout creation, and in this project we work with exterior orientation data. Let's import it into the project. Use this button on the main toolbar, exterior orientation data list. And here you can see all images from our project. Press input button, and here we can choose file with exterior orientation, and let's open it with Notepad, for example, to look at the data. It's 3 coordinates, projection center coordinates, and angles. The separators between column, it's comma, and let's close this window and choose this file here. And step 1, here we have to choose file format. It's CSV with projection centers, angles, and GPS time. Next step, it's line template. We can choose another template with another separators here. In our case, it's comma, and the first one here. In this part of the window, we can see the part of our file, and for example, if I change line here, now the first one, I can see this the name of columns here, and we can set this file and see the result here. It's second line here, and field separators, it's comma, and it looks okay. Now, for example, if I switch it off, I can see all data in the single column. Okay, and here I think we can press next button now. Step 2. If you need, you can change units for angles. You can add this value to kappa angle and change precision of inputting data, and press execute button. Okay, all data is in the file, is in the project. Press apply and close this window. Here there is a block layout, and it has been created with exterior orientation data. And let's look at the block layout window. Here we can see the list of data which we can use for block layout creation, and now in this project we have only exterior orientation data, so we can see this result. After we add, for example, another information, type points on GCPs or ground control points, we can see the result here, the same. And for example, if we work without exterior orientation data, we have to create block layout manually by using, for example, Nishon approximation. I mean overlapping between strips and inside strips. We can set these values here. And we can improving block layout with quick ties if it's necessary. If we work manually, we have to add another strips here and add images into the strips the same way, but now we work with exterior orientation data, so we can split this block into the strips automatically. Let's do it. Close this window and use block menu command here. Automatic block splitting by external orientation data. And here we can choose the order images inside strips. Usually I do it cut and try, by cut and try method, and it works. Press OK here, and in the block editor window we can see two strips with images, and excuse me, and now the block layout is created, and let's estimate the quality of block layout. Oh, excuse me again. Let's continue. And now we have to estimate the quality of block layout before starting automatic type points measurement. We have to estimate the search area. And let's place marker in the between strips overlapping, and use this button. It opens all images with marker position, and here let's find well-defined point on the first image, for example, and after double click here, marker jumps in the same place on other images after in accordance with exterior orientation data, and the accuracy of this jump depends on accuracy of exterior orientation data of our block layout. And now we have to estimate the distance between the correct position of marker and the current position of marker on images. Let's now we have to activate second image with right mouse button. Here you can see this frame. Press DK and click in the right marker position. We can see this distance for second image. We have to do the same for all images in strip, in the same strip and in the second strip. Where is it? On the please notice I use spanning with Alt key and try to find the same place. But now let's look at all images. We can see that there are different rotation for first and second strip, because for visualization images in this window, PHOTOMOD use orientation of images without the same way as in block editor, without any rotation. And we have to choose here block layout rotation. And now it looks better. We have to do the same again. Let's find, for example, another well-defined point here. Activate with right mouse button second image, DK, and click here. The same for next strip, DK. Okay, this distance is less than 120 pixels. It's a good result, and we can pass to automatic type points measurement. For example, if you have this value more than 800 pixels, for example, it's okay, but it's better if we improve block layout, for example, with quick ties, or we have to improve block layout to make these values about 500 pixels, for example. And let's close this window. Oh no, let's come back to points measurement window, and we have to estimate before starting automatic type points measurement. We have to estimate the basis between for stereo pair in image scale. In order to do this, we have to find the same point on the left and on the right image here. For example, this point. And place marker in the same point on the right image. And let's calculate the basis by using these coordinates. Here we can see pixels, we can see coordinates of marker position for left and right images in pixels and millimeters. And to we have to calculate this value, and x on the left image it's about 20 millimeters, minus 17 millimeters. We have about 37 millimeters. We can use basis about 40 millimeters, I think. It's okay, and we will use this value for setting automatic die points measurement. Close this window again, and let's start automatic die points measurement. And in PHOTOMOD, this process consists of 3 stages. It's measuring, transferring, and filtering die points. In this window, we have to check all images or needed images in the block. And after that, we have to set these parameters for measuring and filtering points. For now, we work with digital camera, and we can increase correlation threshold up to 95% in the both case. Maximum vertical parallax we can leave without any change, and the same for threshold for triplets threshold in XY plane. But by that we have to increase this value up to 3 pixels for this project, because it depends on the ratio of focal length to basis. Focal length it's 120 millimeters, and basis it's about 40 millimeters. So let's use 3 pixels here. Please notice the units, it's pixels. And now let's look at some advanced options on More button. And the first step is search for points tab. And here we can see search area size, and these parameters should correspond to block layout accuracy, and for this block it's about 120 pixels. So increasing this value decrease speed and may lead to appearance of wrong points. So it's better if we leave this value without any change. For quality imagery, I mean digital camera imagery, we can decrease this value, contrast point search area, as low as 10 pixels, I think. And press OK button here. Now we're ready to start, and press Start button. What about question? Yes. Wait, please. Wait, please. We have some questions.
Okay. Hi, people. Sasha is a bit tired, so I'm sorry, she replace it with me. My name is Dmitry Kochergin, and some of you know me. And I'm head of technical support department of Rakurs. So probably we'll make this webinar all together with Sasha. And now I'll try to, while we still have progress bar on the screen. Oh, we don't have. Anyway, hi Dima, Vaska. Hi Vaska. I see my friends in the list, so I'm really glad. And well, okay. So there is a suggestion to speak louder, but it seems to me that I'm speaking exactly like Sasha. Oh, okay. Now it's okay. There is a question. I'd like to ask how could I set up the project from the beginning, but well, probably it's we can show it later. But I think it's not a topic of our webinar. And another question. What is the minimum number of pass points that is rejected? It's from Greece. It's well, I'm not completely. It's not completely clear what's the problem. Minimum number of rejected points. Actually, it's 0. If all points are good, you do not need to remove any points. Well, now we can, I think, go back to our PHOTOMOD, to our photogrammetric software, world famous, etc., etc. Now we got the type points measuring complete. I can click OK button and see the relative orientation report, which is really informative and full. You can see all necessary information related with any stereo pair, any triplet, any inter-strip stereo pair, and so on, so on. So there is also, of course, all residuals, all errors that we got after the process, and we can estimate the values. Actually, all of them should correspond to the acceptables that we have selected over here. For example, if we set up the maximum vertical parallax as 1 pixel, there shouldn't be more than 1 pixels over here, and you can see that actually it is correct. The maximum values are like 0.6, etc., etc. If we, the same thing, of course, about the triplets, so there shouldn't be more than 2 pixels, more than 3 pixels, right? We set it like 3, and now we can see that Z error is less than 3 pixels, and that is okay. If we need to check something or to remeasure something, of course we can use the tools for manual measurements in every triplet, well, probably triplet is more informative, so I will select a triplet. Okay, now I see the 3 adjacent images of our block, and this button seems to be very useful because it shows us only points measured on these 3 images. We have a bit small screen over here. I don't see all of them. So you can see the points, distribution of points. By the way, it's very nice for triplet if the points are distributed in this way, in vertical, like along vertical strip. But if I want to measure some new point, I have to select its approximate position on all images, and for example, this is approximate marker position. Then I can click over here, see, and see all of them in zoom one by one, and select again not very precise a point, and click on the button, on this button. It means correlate all. The name of it is correlate images to the left one, and we have to select left image. In fact, its name came from stereo measurements. If I will click over here, I will get a new manual type point, and you can see the correlation coefficient value, and you can set OK or not OK. I can turn it off or turn it on, make a decision whether to accept point or not. So this is very shortly about manual measurements, but by our opinion, in very most cases, the manual measurements are not needed, because PHOTOMOD is really powerful for automatic measurements. But in some specific cases, of course, you have to have this, at least this opportunity to make manual measurements and even make the measurements in stereo. Okay, now we are done with the automatic relative orientation. And we can, on the next step, we can start with the solver, and
Hi there again. And let's pass to block adjustment in solver. And let's look at the parameters window, and here on the adjustment tab we can see three adjustment method. It's the first one. It's used as initial approximation. It's independent strips method, and it's used as initial approximation for the next two methods. It's independent stereo pass and bundle adjustment. This method works with worst data, but usually gives the lower accuracy. So the final adjustment should be done with bundle adjustment mode, and let's use this method for our block now. And after we are satisfied with the relative orientation report, we can now we need to estimate the block accuracy overall. So we can use so-called free model. It is the first step in block adjustment, and adjustment in the free model without exterior orientation data and ground control points produces the block model which in general case is scaled, shifted and rotating relative to real world. And shift and rotation don't matter for the accuracy estimation, but scale influences the residuals values directly. So here we have to we have to set manually this scale, and for this block it's about 210 meters. Let's use this value and press compute button. Magic. We don't have any residuals exceeding the threshold. Strange. And let's look at the parameters window again, and on the report tab we can at first we can set all parameters for report, and we can set threshold for X, Y, and Z residuals. And now, okay, I would like to see some bad points in our adjustment, so I increase this value here, for example 0.1. Okay. Oh no, and compute. Wow, we have some bad points. In this case now we work with small blocks, so we don't have any problem with adjustment in free model. And now let's work with our block. And in PHOTOMOD there are a lot of tools for visualization of residuals vectors. And let's use this button with I. And here we can set the scale of viewing for residual vectors. And now we can see some of them on this scheme. Press OK. But there are a lot of points, and let's set the visualization for points. Use filter here and parameters. Now I would like to work with type points, I mean no coordinates for them, and for example worst, okay, by residuals value, something worst point. What happened? Oh, okay. Now I see the I see the worst points for this block, or I can see over. It's too much. Example here 5. Okay. Okay, and if you need, you can choose the worst point here and remeasure it with points measurement window. But now we measure points automatically, so we have some, excuse me, избыток точек. We have axis. Now we can remeasure points if we need, but now we have a lot of points, and it we measured them automatically, so we can select them with control button and exclude them by ties. Okay, and press compute button. Okay, we have the same special marks next to residual values in this residuals window. Let's try again. Do the same. Here, parameters, and for example, all points. Okay, and let's exclude them to compute. Only one point with errors exceeding the threshold. Another point. Where is it? Now it looks okay. I mean the residuals values in this window, but let's now we have to estimate the geometry of distribution points, triplet points, between strips points in our block, and let's switch on all points for visualization. And here I can see green points in over all triplet overlapping, yes, and it looks okay. And the blue point, it's points between strips. I can see, I think it's enough for tying strips. And now the free model is okay, and we can pass to input and measuring ground control points. So let's close this window, exit, yes, save the data. And now we can see the block layout after adjustment in free model. Here you can see asterisk. It means that now we work in free model coordinate system. As I've already said, usually it's shifted and rotated into relative work. But now we would like to measure ground control point, so we need to work in real coordinate system. So let's come back to block layout window, and here use by exterior orientation button. Now we work in real coordinate system. So close this window and open the ground control points list. Here, let's input the file with ground control points. It's here, and the same parameters, the same settings, I mean, and start import from second line, I think. Okay, name X, Y, Z, and here we can rename the column here, for example, this way. And you can see all this change in line template here. If you need, you can convert coordinate system, but now we work with Cartesian right, and now this part of the window is not active. But if you work in real coordinate system, I mean WGS, you can convert coordinate system for here. You can choose another coordinate system and press OK button here. Add all points from this list. Okay. Okay, and in order to measure, for example, the first point here, I double click here, and let's measure point. Let's search points on an image. To add measurement for selected point in this list, I have to check the name, I have to check the sketch, for example, for this point, and after that I have to use this button or insert key on keyboard. Add this measure on the left image, click on this position on the right image, and add this measurement on the left image with correlator. With this button, correlate active image with to the left image, or by using hotkey space. Okay, it's good enough. Okay, and the next point here. Where is it? Insert button to add on the left image, and space to add new measurement on the left, on the right image with correlator. Okay. I think it's easy. Oh, excuse me. Let's continue with measurement. Insert. It's not good situation for correlator, so I can add this point manually. Insert. Okay, and it should be noticed that all change and all measurement in this all measurements in this window will be safe only after apply button. Yes. Okay. And now we measure. We can pass to solver to adjust this block with ground control points. Okay, and in parameters window the same method for adjustment, but we have to switch it off and compute button here. Now we can see errors here, but I think this threshold for this block, it's usually. What do you think? Too high. Okay, too high accuracy. Okay, 0.2. Okay, and compute here. Now we don't have any problem with this block, but if you have big errors on type points or ground control points, we can remeasure it the same way, and here, and we can here in this window we can use we can use we can show residuals vectors and ground. Oh.
What we are going to explain that if you made an incorrect measurement, for example, where is it? Well, now, for example, I have made the measurement over here, an incorrect place. Now this is a point number, well, 0029, and if I save the changes and recompute the block, we will see the error, a big error on this point. And in some cases, of course, this error, if you have many erroneous measurements, this error will be distributed over the total points. But anyway, in very most cases, you can see the worst one. And now you can, okay, I see a big error. I can go back to the measurements and say, oh, okay, I see the vector over here, and I can remeasure the point, select it, and say, well, this is left image, put the cursor over somewhere here, and where is my icon? Carry left, active image to the left. Okay. Go back to solver and readjust the block. So it's the simplest way to find error and to fix it. Well, probably we're a bit out of time, so I think we are basically done with our presentation, and we are waiting for questions now. Well, many questions. Let's start with something. Well, could excuse me. Could PHOTOMOD process the oblique images automatically? Well, in fact, yes. There is no limitations in the mathematic part of PHOTOMOD for the angles, but probably it's better to try it on the images that you have, how much it is, what is the angle, what are really oblique images you mean. So we'd like to see the data first to make sure that everything okay with the images orientations and the camera parameters, etc., etc. How do you find the basis value? Actually, Sasha has shown the way how to just compare two coordinates, two x coordinates for the right image and left image, and subtract one from another one and get the basis. But in fact, you can calculate it easily if you know the overlap area between two images. You can easily calculate the distance between centers of images in millimeters or pixels or meters if you know approximate scale. I notice you are using, well, 5.111152, and when this version will come to customers, I believe it will be in a couple of weeks or maybe a month. Can the webinar be rewatched somewhere? Yes, it will be published on our website, and you can load the video and view it. What are the parameters that you should adjust for automatic type point recognition? Actually, we have. Where is PHOTOMOD? I'll go back to the automatic type points measurements window. I have closed everything for some reason. I was too afraid of questions. Well, the main parameters as actually Sasha said, is the acceptable values for correlation. It's about 0.9 or better for good quality images. Vertical parallax is about pixel in plane. Triplet is about pixel in plane and is depends on the ratio between the focal length and basis by Z. For digital cameras, usually it is 1 and 3 or 4. For analog cameras, it depends on focal length. For 150 millimeters, there will be 2 over here. For 300 millimeters, there will be 3. So it is calculated from this ratio. And the more parameters, again, as Sasha said, the search area and, in fact, some more detailed things that we actually do not recommend to change, or just refer to the documentation. Very many questions. Very. Okay, may you open the report to see whether there are any asterisks, especially in type points. Okay, I'll open the report. There is a report. There are report parameters. Actually, they depends on the parameters we used to start the process. Now they are the same. Okay. Well. Anyway, what is the? So it's a question from Nikolai Georgi from Bulgaria. Was it about solver? Or okay, I'll try. I'll try to understand. Report. Well, probably I have to set up the report parameters. Well, I think I can set it on, all of them. And, well, not catalog. Где эти звездочки?
Сейчас у нас нету ошибок, надо сделать.
If you want to see errors in the report, you probably have to set up again some less values for the acceptables. Recompute the block. Still. Everything was filtered.
We don't have any exceeding threshold RMS.
So what? Okay, oops, excuse me. Finally we get, if Nikolai means this one, so what's the question? Yes, about the solver. So, okay, now we can see the asterisk with the value. It means that this point is over the acceptable by Z. So, but I still actually do not understand what is the issue. Well, anyway, let's go to some more questions. I saw in solver parameter from Vanya. Hi, Vanya. Ivani Petrova, again from Bulgaria. I saw in solver parameter that the scale is around 5000. Is it correct? And can we use automatic type points for the scale of 1000? But yes, of course, you can use automatic type points for any scale. But the problem is that the scale, you mean this. Well, the scale for digital camera is kind of, strange thing. Actually, the main parameter of digital camera is ground sample distance. Of course, you can formally calculate the scale like size of matrix divided into the size of the matrix pixel and see something like 5000. But the main idea in digital cameras is to estimate even before the flight. You should estimate to calculate the plane height. You have to calculate the ground sample distance. I mean, if you want to reach the accuracy, you have to know that any digital system, the accuracy of aerial triangulation for any digital system is around the pixel. So, for example, now we have 7 centimeters on the ground, and we can wait that the block adjustment accuracy will be around this value. So you have to estimate what accuracy do you actually need, depending on the output scale of your orthophoto plan or something like this, and make the aerial survey, taking it into account. Now, for example, you have 7 centimeters on the ground. It corresponds to the, at least from Russian regulations, for example. Russian regulations say that if you want to create a map of, for example, 1000 scale, the accuracy of block adjustment should be 0.2 millimeters in the map scale. So for 1000, it should be 20 centimeters. So this ground sample distance is enough to get the accuracy of 1000 scale or even better. Probably it's supposed to be twice as good as the final accuracy. So of course you can use automatic type points for 1000 scale. From Sigma Geo from Portugal, we are having some problems when it comes to block adjustment. It always excludes one point in parameters rejected points. Is there any way to disable this in version 5.1? Why it always excludes? Maybe you use this option, type points rejection, because only in case of this option solver will automatically exclude some points. But in fact, I do not recommend to use it, because it's better to adjust block, to estimate the results, to select some bad points manually or by some criterion, and delete them from the adjustment. But I still do not understand completely why it always excludes one point. Parameters. Probably it's better to send email on the Rakurs support address. Well, one more question from Dimitrios from Greece. During solution of aerial triangulation, there is a minimum number of worst type points that is rejected. Is it possible to have 0 rejected points on each successive triangulation? Again, it's the same question like it was from the very beginning. Of course it is possible. It depends on you whether you want to reject points or not. So you have to set the acceptables over here and say, okay, I'd like to reach the accuracy like 10 centimeters in plane and 20 centimeters by Z, for example. It's very high accuracy, by the way. It's even better than Vanya wanted for 1000 scale. So if you want to reject all points over this acceptable, you can do it. By the way, you can also set different acceptables for different type points. And in fact, it's useful because even regulations say that ground control points has one acceptable value and checkpoints twice as bad, and type points probably also. Now, doesn't need so high accuracy as GCPs. So we can operate with it by using this window. Again from Nikolai, and do you have to correct every point which is over the acceptable threshold? Actually, no. If you have big enough number of points, you can just reject all points automatically. I mean, not all points automatically rejected, but all points over the acceptable. Because in case of manual aerial triangulation, as you know probably, you had to measure a couple or 3 points in every zone, so there were about 12 or 20 points for every stereo pair. And in this case, each of them were really significant. But in case of automatic aerial triangulation, we have excessive number of points, and of course we can remove many of them. And the only thing, it's not a good idea to remove all points from one stereo pair, etc., from some specific area of block. That should be distributed over the total block, the bad points. Yes, in case of vegetated areas, like jungle areas, is it possible with PHOTOMOD make the adjustment just with the camera parameters and GPS plus GPS and IMU data? Well, first of all, I'd like to say that it is possible even to make aerial triangulation in this area, because we have a big experience, not in jungle, but in Russian forest, in taiga, etc., and we have some samples where the automatic type point measurements produce very good results. But the answer is yes, because if you have good enough quality, good enough accuracy of the GPS and IMU data, you can import them and then use this option, orientation direct georeferencing. In this case, you will not need the PHOTOMOD solver at all. You will just use the onboard data. But of course, our recommendation is to have at least several checkpoints on the ground, just to make sure that everything is okay on board, because sometimes there are some systematic errors, etc., etc. But yes, it is possible. You can import it and use direct georeferencing option. Sasha has measured the accuracy of external orientation before starting type point recognition. Probably you mean the accuracy of block layout. There is no way to estimate the exterior orientation accuracy before solver, before having some checkpoints. But the idea was to estimate the accuracy of the block layout, because I will repeat it quickly. Because the idea of automatic procedure is the algorithm works in such a way that it will go automatic procedure. It will go to some point on the first image. Then the algorithm is trying to search the corresponding point on all other images. And of course, it requires on the search area, and we can estimate the search area, because if I will set it very big, it will take a lot of time for automatic procedure. And now, and this automatic sync works in the same way like I do right now. My double click is exactly like, well, internal click of automatic algorithm. Now it positions the cursor over here on the first image, and it positions the marker cursor in this place on all other images. So I can estimate the okay, now I should. So I just can estimate the search area by special by the manual measurement. As I said, I can click the D button and make the measurement. So I see the point over here and the point over here. And I say that for these three images, for these three specific images, the biggest distance between the biggest area, search area that the correlator algorithm will need is 80 pixels. And when I start the process, I should set up this parameter accordingly. So it shouldn't be less. Now it is much more, and search area is bigger, and it is okay, but of course I can set it even smaller just to make the process faster. If I know that the smallest distance is 80 pixels, I can set it like, well, not 100, but for example 500, and it will be it will work faster than for 1000. So it's the estimation of the block layout accuracy, not actually the accuracy of exterior orientation parameters. Okay. Next, again from Bulgaria. Do we have to transfer all GCPs to all images, or we can use them only in stereo pairs? Well, it's a good question. The answer probably, if you have all of them, if you have your GCPs really visible, really with a high quality on all images, it's better to transfer them. But if some images, if the ground control point picture on some images is not so good, it's better to not use it. So for solver, actually, it's enough to measure them on two images on the pair. So if you have bad results after measuring the ground control points on many images, you can remove them from some of them. The recorded, again, about the recorded version of the webinar, it will be published on the Rakurs website in a couple of days. We saw no stereo measurements in this demo. Do you consider this AT done even without stereo measurements? Yes, definitely yes. If we, for tie points, first of all, for tie points, we almost never use stereo. Just again in case of very forestry regions. And for ground control points, for this kind of ground control points that we had in this project, again, we do not need stereo because correlator works just fine. But if you have some ground control points on some specific terrain features like, I don't know, buildings and fences or something like this, and the correlator doesn't work, and you are not sure about manual measurements, you will need stereo. But for this data is definitely not needed. Again, from Sigma Geo from Portugal. Apparently 1 point rejection is a bug from 5.01 or 5.1 Another question is about point. Well, we will check it, but it's better. Yes, as I said, it's better to send email because I never faced this kind of problem, one point rejection. Another question is about point distribution between strips, inner strip points. How many points on average do you recommend per strip? One every image, one every 2-3 images, or another value? Again, for solver, it's enough to have several points for in total interstrip area. From classic science, from classic photogrammetry, or from regulations, from Russian regulations, there should be a couple of points for every interstrip stereo pair. But in some cases we do not follow this rule, because in some specific cases, again forest, again some bad quality images, etc., etc. So sometimes we have less points than a couple for every interstrip stereo pair. Strip ties again should be measured in all images. And the same question. And again from Portugal. Do you guys see each other? Okay. I'm sorry. Well, it's well, it's okay that we are a bit out of time, so I'm still waiting for questions, no problem. Чтобы они видели. И the same. Now Sasha is trying to set up the webinar software in order to...
No, they can't see
for some reason. Well, she is trying to make the questions visible for all of audience, but for some reason we cannot. In the same direction for solving with no GPS, just come QC points. What is QC points? Well, there is a question about some QC points. I'm sorry, but what is it? Quality control. Yeah, checkpoints probably. Okay. What will be recommended of the number of it? With no. Okay. So you mean the aerial survey with the GPS IMU system, and how many checkpoints do you need in this case? Oh, it's well, it's hard to say, but if you will measure several points, you can estimate. The main idea, if you have a systematic error of your GPS IMU data, it will be enough to have several points just to see that all vectors are directed in the same direction, etc., etc. So it's very easy for solver to take into account this residual. But if so, for this kind of error, you will need just several points, like 3 maybe, or something like this. But if the situation is more complicated, it is hard to say. It depends on how does the GPS IMU system work, and so it's not easy to give the full answer. Oh, well, are there any more questions? Can you tell us something about automatic contour creation for this project? Vanya?
Next time.
No, I think that yes, it's really it's a topic for another webinar, I think, because it's not a very simple and short reply. Are you planning any webinars on PHOTOMOD stereo draw? Well, in fact, the first idea of our webinars to dedicate them to automatic processes like DTM, AT, ortho rectification. But in fact, if you need the stereo draw, we can consider it. By the way, it's also the idea. Please send us any recommendations, suggestions about possible topics of future webinars. We really appreciate it. So we'll think about stereo draw issue. So it looks like we do not have any more questions for now. Even Bulgarian people keep silence. Okay, there. So thank you very much for taking part in our first experience. We are sorry if something is not completely well, but we'll try to make our webinars better and better. Okay, thank you. I have some questions. Can you please explain about cam file parameters? You mean the file itself? You mean actually the file? But in fact, you don't need to edit this file manually. I can open it. I think it's just a text file, but oh, well, let me ask you, what actually parameters, what cam file parameters you mean, or the camera parameters? Because this is a standard dialog of camera parameters, which includes distortion in several ways, like formula, like radial table, and tables of several directions. And please explain about the principal point. The principal point, well, the principal point coordinates. Well, the principal point coordinates come from the camera passport. Actually, there is the difference. Actually, there is a difference between middle of image, right? The middle of image is the very center pixel of image. Every image, whether it is digital, originally digital, or scanned image, has its average pixel, right? But the principal point is the place of the crosses of beams. And so there is a difference between this optical center of image and the center of digital image. And every passport of professional aerial camera contains this information about this difference. Usually, the name of it is PPA, principal point of autocollimation. And you can just take the values from the passport and type it over here. I think I don't have any, maybe I have. I'll try to should we take image extent? Should we take image extent from the calibration report or PPA? What do you mean image extent? PPA, well, let me find some passport. I think it's not a, I know that I have some on my machine. Camera passports. Oh, for example, a lot of camera passports. For example, RS30, right? The most popular analog camera. What is it? You see the distortion, and you see the coordinates of 2 points, PPA and PPS. PPA means the principal point of autocollimation, the PPS the principal point of symmetry. And usually the distortion values are calculated from the PPS point, and the principal point is this PPA point. So this is actually a distance. Actually, it's a distance from the middle of image to the again, well, please explain in digital camera. Actually, there is no difference between digital camera and the analog camera because, as I said, the idea is the same as the distance from the center. Well, anyway, let's because DMC has post-processing in such a way that there is no shift between PPA and the center. But for example, where is our lot of ultracams? Okay, like ultracam camera. Well, now you can see that the PPA of ultracam is 0 by X and minus 0.64 millimeters by Y. So when you add this camera to PHOTOMOD, you can say, okay, where is new camera, ultracam, well, and you should add this value into the camera passport, minus 0.64, 63 even. Yes, so you should act like this, 63 and 0, probably 0.63, no, I don't. So that's the way. Well, okay, I'm sorry. Really big shift, 600 microns. Well, and you set also focal length from here. So again, it's a distance. It's a distance between middle of the image and the like kind of optical center of the central projection projected on the image plane. There is a suggestion to dedicate next webinar to ortho rectification and DSM modeling. Yes, it's definitely in our plans, so we'll do it. If again about the camera passport, if we keep point of origin to the lower left button, okay. If you have a if your camera passport contains the coordinates of the principal point calculated from the low image corner, you just have to set this option and that's it. For example, probably I have a sample. I have a sample of this kind of calibration. If Sasha will help me to rotate the image, you will also see.
No, never.
No? Where is
No, you can see her.
rotate it, please.
Maybe something like that. No?
Yes.
Yeah, again.
Okay. Unfortunately, it is in Russian, but it's a full Hasselblad camera, and you see that in this case, the principal point coordinates are calculated from the corner, and the values are like 18. It's not about the 0, but it's 18 millimeters. So in this case, you just have to use this option and type like 18 and 18 or something like this millimeter. Not even millimeters, but I'm sorry, of course, it's the wrong place. I have to type it here, right? So 18 and 18 millimeters from the left corner, etc. Where is my webinar window? So if you do not have any more questions, I'd like to thank you again for participation, and we are glad to continue the tradition in close future. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Stereo draw. Again, suggestions and recommendation for next webinars from Sigma Geo. Stereo draw differences from 4 to 5. DTM and automatic filters. Yes, DTM and automatic filters is probably the next topic for sure. But, well, we'll talk about stereo draw. It seems to be not so many differences in this software. But anyway.
A lot of an interesting idea about next webinars, and thank you very much. We're waiting for your letters support. And thank you very much again. And I think see you soon.
Okay. Yes. Eyes on me. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.